皆さん、こんにちは。私のチャンネルへようこそ。Hello and welcome to my channel. Welcome to my house, which is basically now a garden, because I'm filming this video only a few days after my wedding ceremony. So in today's video, I'd like to talk to you more in depth about the most magical day of my life and explain to you what it's like as a Westerner getting married in a very traditional Japanese ceremony. This position is really uncomfortable, so let me move and get into the real story. Before I begin though, please remember to like and subscribe to my channel, and let's begin. Okay, now we're sitting comfortably. I'll start with a bit of a background about my relationship with my husband. So you may already know this, but basically I moved to Japan and coincidentally met my husband, and we decided to get married. And this was during Corona. So we were not able to celebrate a full-on family wedding because of the restrictions of Corona, and obviously my family being in the UK, they weren't able to celebrate the special day with us. And both my husband and I are really family people. So, you know, we weren't really prepared to do a ceremony without, you know, the most important people of our lives actually being there. So on our wedding day, or the day we legally, you know, signed the paperwork or whatever, that is, of course, our wedding anniversary. But it was a case of going to like a city ward, which is not a particularly glamorous place, and signing a document. The lady behind the desk photocopied my passport twice, each and every single page, and then returned our documents and said, right, now you're married. So we just kind of looked at each other and we were like, cool, all right, what should we do? Went for some dinner and celebrated each other, drank some champagne, and that was that. So fast forward 2.5 years. We've rescheduled this whole ceremony thing many times, and you know, of course, like the Corona thing, nobody knew what was going to happen. Nobody knew when this would finally end. But finally we managed to fix a date that worked for my family and for us and for my husband's family and for the Corona restrictions. So we finally settled on April 2023, and that's, you know, a good like 2.5 years of sort of like preparing and waiting and rescheduling. Finally, that was set in stone, and my family booked their tickets, and it became real. And of course, we did the whole, like, we didn't hire a wedding planner, so we did the whole getting freaked out about like what flowers to order, what invitation cards to do, tiny little minutiae detail, because the structure that we wanted was a kind of blend of really quintessentially Japanese Shinto ceremony with a more relaxed style Western party. His family and friends and my family and friends could connect and talk and mingle, you know, less of a formal sit-down dinner and more of this relaxed, friendly vibe. Both of us were equally interested to get married and have our Shinto ceremony in Meiji Jingu. Before I experienced that, I'd always been in awe, I think, of Meiji Jingu. I think it's such a sacred, beautiful place. The atmosphere is really powerful. For those of you who are watching, if you are from Japan, you probably understand what I'm saying. There are some shrines or areas in Japan, like nature spots, which just have this, you know, powerfully resonating feeling to them, and I always felt that in Meiji Jingu. So we were both really up for celebrating and sharing our commitment with the gods and with our family at Meiji Jingu. And instead of this more formal after dinner, we went down to Omotesando and had more casual buffet style, but you know, free flow drinks in a gorgeous rooftop setting. And that was kind of the balance that we wanted, so that we could have the quintessential Japanese feeling, yet also the fun of a wedding, basically. So many stories. Okay, so just to go before I talk about this, not even a month before the wedding was planned, my father had a heart attack and was obviously unable to fly, and that really broke my heart. I was gutted because I'd always imagined that if I were to get married, that my father would be there. Like, all of us were pretty emotional about that, but we decided to go ahead with the wedding anyway and do it, and obviously he's in our hearts and soul and mind. So we went ahead with it, and my family arrived from the UK. We have a nice few days of sort of like getting excited together and doing a few like Japanese things. Then the wedding day was on a Sunday, and the women of my British family, we dropped them off in Omotesando for them to change into kimono, which they wanted to wear for the ceremony. They wanted to embrace this Japanese style. And they all looked great. They looked fantastic, and they really embraced that Japanese style. And then we left them there to get ready, and my husband and I went off to Meiji Jingu to start the preparations. Now, for anyone that's gone out as a man and a woman, you will know that the woman may take a lot longer to prepare for this event than the guy. And that certainly was the case. You know, I had like several different women doing my hair, doing my makeup, doing my kimono, like so much was going on. And I think during that time, my husband actually just went off to get some soba for lunch. Like, you know, he didn't need to do so much. But anyway, after all these hours of preparation, he met me at the entrance of my sort of like changing area, and he looked, I mean, like, I've never seen him in hakama before, but like, it was such an emotional day. And when I saw him there, I thought, oh my God, you look so, I don't know, like grand and just like wonderful. Like, it was so emotional. I really had to hold in my emotions. I may even cry in this video because it was beautiful. Every moment of it, like even thinking about it, wow, it's just amazing. So he looked amazing in this hakama, and there I was in this white kimono with my Japanese makeup and my hair with some orchids in there. As you can tell, I am a humongous fan of orchids. I love orchids. They are most certainly my favorite flower. And so, yeah, there we were, like suddenly transformed into kind of like a Japanese, I felt like a princess. I honestly felt like $1 million. I felt amazing. Wearing that white kimono as well, it was very different. Like, of course, there's the usual thing of like, you hold your posture in a certain way, but wearing that white kimono, that silk white kimono with the beautiful embroidery, it was beyond anything that I've ever experienced. It's beyond any Western dress that I've ever put on. I just felt incredible, truly incredible. It was amazing. And the ceremony itself in Meiji Jingu will involve going from the waiting room into the honden, the main square, and walking through in a kind of procession style. So we have the miko and the priests at the front, so the priest and the shrine maidens leading the way, and then my husband and I, and some man holding like a red umbrella, and then this long trail of like his family and my family. And you know, other people are in the shrine area. They've come to take photos and look at Meiji Jingu because it's such a beautiful tourist attraction and place to visit. And then when we came out, there was this amazing moment where all the hustle and bustle of tourists chatting and taking photos and stuff, it just stopped. And there was this silence.
お下がりください。お下がりください。Like, I'm getting like torihara, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. It was
completely silent. And there were so many people just turned around and stood in a way that we could walk with our procession of, our family behind us, and just taking photos, talking in very hushed tones as we walked through. And I honestly, as I was walking closer to the ceremony room, I was overwhelmed by emotion. People say that there's no such thing as perfect, but that moment was truly spectacular. I mean, I could know all the plans and all the details and all the things about the wedding. I could logically know, but the feeling was completely beyond anything that I could even have dreamed of, to be honest. It was just amazing. Just amazing. However, I was very emotional and I did cry multiple times throughout the day. The ceremony room itself, I've never seen anything like that. It was sacred in that kind of godly, powerful way. For me, it felt like the step that was missing. So when we signed legal paperwork and we became officially husband and wife, that's fine for legal things or documents and things, but to celebrate our commitment and our togetherness with the gods, with both our families there, that was the true getting married for me. The marriage of family, the true statement of commitment, of love. And that was the real wedding for me, I think. That was just the moment where it's we're married. We're really married, The ceremony was beautiful. I really had to control myself again, not to cry. A couple of members of my family were also crying quietly as they could, just because it was such a unique and beautiful moment. And after the ceremony finished, we did a procession through the Honden, and again, there was just more people. I couldn't see. I was just kind of busy, being in my moment, being in my emotions and joy and my moment. As I was walking, I actually said to my husband, this is amazing. This is amazing. We're doing this, It was just a sheer moment of joy and yeah, it just amazing. And then after that, we had some photos, and there were even, people would be coming up to me and just getting their phone and taking a photo of my face, and it's okay. But it's nice, I think the key thing about Japanese ceremonies is that it's not just about the man and wife get married. It's everybody celebrates. Even the public are there to celebrate this moment for the married couple, and the long trail of family behind. It's a unity of family. Yeah, that was beautiful. And then I quickly completely changed my look from beautiful silk kimono into a more Western style dress. And we went down to Omotesando and began the party. Okay, yeah, this is a big energy or vibe change. So basically, my family, they love to party, they love to celebrate, and they definitely love me and my husband. So we partied for sure. It was messy, somehow everybody seemed to get really drunk, but everybody had a great time. We did speeches. Now, this was an interesting one because obviously my family are not particularly good at Japanese. And many people attending were, of course, Japanese, so didn't really understand English. And I think it was that moment where, even the speeches in English from my sister and from my brother, even in the language that people didn't understand, there were people who cried and who felt moved by the words and the sentiment of my family. And I think that's something that I really feel in Japan, is that sometimes connection and understanding surpasses language. It's more of a feeling, a personal feeling. And so that was really lovely to kind of feel that connection, despite the things that you think, oh, well, we won't understand each other because we don't speak the same language. It wasn't about that. It was a deep connection, I felt, and everybody had fun, and that made me really happy. I think, yeah, there's something really magical about sharing your commitment with the world, and yeah, it was really incredible, really, really incredible. I did a speech, but I cried in the middle of it. I cried at my sister's speech. I cried at my brother's speech. I basically just cried all day, but I had the most fantastic day. And feels like a wonderful dream that I will always remember. So yeah. Also my family, like I said to them, thank you so much for being, for coming all this way and embracing the Japanese style. Because I think it can be a bit like, why is it like this? If people don't understand, especially when someone is a different religion, and people might, have a tendency to ask questions like, why is it this way? But my family was so open and so delighted to engage in this more Japanese style ceremony. And I said to them, thank you for embracing that. And thank you for being such a willing part of our special day. And they were like, no, thank you. This is such a unique and beautiful experience that we would never have had if it weren't for you guys getting married. So, that moment where you're just like, thank you, I love you, and everyone's feeling the same happy vibes. It was just happy vibes day, completely. All the people in that party were special people to me, special people to my husband. So it was just, it was magic, completely magic, and a day I will never ever forget. So, yay. I just hope this information was interesting for you, and I would absolutely love to know your opinions or thoughts or any comments that you have on my stories today. Thank you for listening to my story about my very magical day, and until next time, Danny.